Good morning and welcome back to the Wirraway versus Heclapar play-by-mail campaign. It is 3rd of February 1942. Thank you for joining us. Gruant draws the first blood for the Allies off as part of our Indian invasion, sinking, I'm sure, a small destroyer transport. I suspect that will not be the only losses, but so far so good. So far so good. So row 34 misses a minesweeper loitering off Dutch Harbor. Some dot base cleanup. I don't have any specific major operations going on today. British cruisers run into my tickets. Let's see if the tickets, they're probably torpedo boats, which are World War One era destroyers. Probably not fast enough to escape here. Let's see. Nope. That's so I believe those cruisers probably came from Comley. We had no previous sighting of them. Let's see if they're able to continue on into our transports. Doesn't look like it. So the pickets did their job. So he does have some naval search, aircraft on naval search now over the Bay of Bengal. No cap over Andoing. Bombers are hitting some reinforcements moving into Changsha. We also had bombers trying to hit Changsha, but it looks like the weather prevented them. Very minor hits on the airbase at Bendoing. It's okay. Excuse me, minor's okay. As long as we keep damaging the airfield and keep damaging his aircraft. Here come the Sallies. And the Sallies did quite a bit better. Note I'm still up high, uh, suffering very, very few losses, so this campaign is quite sustainable, which is the key to it. Because you have to keep it up for weeks and weeks, maybe even months, we'll see. Recon is snooping out his positions in India. He sends seagulls in. This time we have Oscars on cap. Not sure what I guess the seagulls were ground bombing. The old B-10s too. They get through the cap initially, but then get caught on the way out. There's lots of recon. Okay, let's see what's going on the ground. Quite a few troops in Changsha. Wow, yeah. We caught a hint of this last turn. Excuse my cough. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult fight in Changsha. He has 2,600 AV that he's moved in the last 2 days. Yeah, they have about 856 at the moment, two divisions and artillery. Two more divisions behind them, but probably can't get into the hex in time. I know they can't get in the hex in time. Um, he will likely shock attack, and it's going to be close. So we'll see if we can apply air power, if the weather allows us to apply air power tomorrow to help. But if he's shock attacking with that many troops, he's likely also to put the AVG into the hex. So we'll have to plan on tangling with the AVG too. Uh, wouldn't be disastrous if two divisions get uh, beat up here, but uh, not not desirable. The best outcome would be for him to shock attack and not win a decisive victory, chewing up a lot of supplies and damaging a lot of his decent remaining force. And I have adequate reserves. So we'll see tomorrow. I suspect the 4th of February he will count. Manila, no real change. This is a stalemate until I introduce significantly more forces, and I won't really do that until um, after I take Bandung. Speaking of which, now that the second tank has defeated these guns 3 times, uh, we'll pull out the second tank, send it to Bandung, um, end up with 4 tank regiments in the next week to attack Bandung, and use smaller special naval landing force units to finish the remaining old bases along the coast of Sumatra. Christmas Island falls, so this little SNLF is one of the ones we'll use up the coast of Sumatra. Allied bombardment at Clark. Our artillery is unloaded. We're still suffering lopsided artillery losses, but that will change soon. Our actual losses in squads have been quite small here, but nevertheless, uh, don't want that attrition to continue. So, corps artillery or army artillery is just about here. And just about got this stabilized. So one of the things in a good We now have expanded our airfield and it will soon expand again. So we have offensive potential now in India. So one of the key things in a stacking limits game is you do have to use economy of force and maneuver to achieve mass. You can't just put the entire Japanese army in one hex or reverse the army in one hex. So this is an economy of force operation tying down uh, more AV, Chinese AV in these mountain hexes. And here in these hexes that I'm using, so I can achieve mass along the Ankang Road. We're maneuvering around Changsha, and he's actually been pretty successful in his maneuver, though the victories haven't certainly been one-sided. It's sort of a mixed bag around Changsha. Um, but that's a pretty good outcome for the Chinese, at least initially, though I have no armor and modest artillery, so it's just infantry on infantry. And um, we're in decent shape, and he's burning supply, which is what you have to do in China. You just have to keep fighting. And eventually you'll consume the Chinese supply. Manila and Clark uh, have always been an economy of force operation where we have um, essentially uh, one full division and a couple division equivalents tying down or holding a stalemate, a much larger allied force. Uh, that's all we want to achieve there. He's come close to some victories here, but um, no success, and used up a good bit of supply in the process, which is again um, the trade-off. If you try to counterattack in Luzon, if you win, great. If you don't, um, you reduce the number of days you're going to hold. You're going to mass. We are massing as quickly as possible now to take Bandoing. Armor is the weapon of choice against the Dutch. They have relatively poor anti-armor capabilities, so um, the four armor regiments that will eventually be used to reduce Bandoing will make it go quite a bit faster than just an infantry force. So it's still a tough fight. Times 3 terrain. He should have consolidated all his best troops, uh, have a full headquarters advantage, and have supply to last months. We've completed getting the 4th Infantry, 48th Division, sorry, out of Horn Island. So that's good. We're continuing to attack Anumier to grind him down, see if he reinforces. So far, he hasn't shown any inclination. Our invasion, last of the major invasions in the Aleutians, at least until he counterattacks, is less than a week away. Weather is still bad until the end of February, and you take um, 3 times typical landing losses, but don't really want to wait until 1 March to do this operation. We'll accept the increased losses from landing. We're Japanese. So his cruisers rushed, excuse me again, his cruisers rushed out, encountered pickets, and then apparently returned. Don't know whether they went to Trincomalee or uh, were actually based out of Colombo, though if they were out of Colombo, they managed to skip by my submarines. We'll move a submarine or two um, just in case they're coming out of Trincomalee. And pretty soon we'll be able to recon Ceylon from India. But right now, the key is getting our transports out and continue to expand. And we're almost to a level 3 airfield at Viz. Once Viz is level 3, we'll switch our engineering effort over to the adjacent base, which is in better terrain, um, and build it up so we have two airfields side by side that are mutually supporting. But eventually, uh, within the next couple of weeks, want to take Madras. Taking Madras really gives us the ability to achieve their superiority over Ceylon and Mangalore, uh, whole end of India, and uh, eventually Hyderabad will allow us to project power further north. But he still can always use Karachi. So Karachi will use additional submarines to interdict and may eventually even use the KB to interdict here when the time is right. Well, that's the situation. Um, got some excitement at Changsha here coming up soon, and um, more attacks towards Ankang, and some maneuver. We're going to grab Kukong, uh, and um, my suspicion, yes, he's largely he has three cores there, one core here that's a bit battered too, I guess. So he's pulled a lot of his units from this sector into Changsha. Um, don't really have enough combat power to take advantage of that, so it's a good move. But we're going to free up another division or two and put pressure towards the rear of Changsha along a new axis of events. Anyway, look forward to our next chance o'clock.